stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with the few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. They're driving theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
Good evening, everybody. It is 8 o'clock. It is November 27th. You are tuned into the Drive-In Speaker Box podcast. I'm your host, Bo, the boom operator.
I'm the Grip.
And we're broadcasting live. It's 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, as we always do. If you are tuned in with us on the live stream over on Facebook or Twitch or on YouTube Live, thanks for joining us. We've been chatting with the people on Twitch for the past half hour during our Twitch pre-show, which you can get access to if you just like or subscribe or both on our Twitch page there, which you can find us. Just search for the Drive-In Speaker Box. It's easy to do. But yeah, welcome. We're going to be talking to you guys about movies this week, as we always do. Thanksgiving's over. We finished that. Oh, VHS Mikey just cheered a whole bunch of bits.
Hot damn.
On Twitch. Thanks, man. But yeah, Thanksgiving just ended. Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
It wasn't bad.
Did you eat all of the tryptophans?
I did. I ate a bunch of tryptophan. Yeah, my grandpa smoked up a turkey. Ended up really good. And then we played some Sea of Thieves.
We did actually play some Sea of Thieves. Got to play some of that Monkey Island that we'd been talking about so long ago. That was fun. So, but now that it's Christmas officially, because Thanksgiving's out of the way, it's Christmas season in full swing. That means a lot of movies coming out in the next couple of weeks.
We didn't talk about your Thanksgiving. Did you sneak a whole dinner into the theater again?
No, I didn't go to the theater. I did go last night. I went and saw Napoleon, which I'm going to be talking about later in the show. But, my sister and her boyfriend, they deep fried a turkey, and I went over there and had some deep fried turkey and some of the traditional fixins, the green bean casserole, the stuffing, the macaroni and cheese, what else that went on there? Some corn, all the things that the people do. The cranberry sauce.
Well, and my family, we watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, as we always do, because it is like the Thanksgiving movie.
It's like the OG Thanksgiving movie.
And someone mentioned they're like, there aren't really any Thanksgiving movies. I think that's the only one. Well, and I started looking. I was like, what are other Thanksgiving movies? And we all sat around and we had like a whole discussion of like what movies are Thanksgiving movies. And it turns out the majority of them we could think of are like horror movies.
Yeah.
Like the new Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving, ones like that. So
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it turns out Thanksgiving is not a popular movie holiday.
It's kind of a weird. I mean, everybody like has a day off and like eats, right? And that's about it. It doesn't have like a lot of like merchandise. It's just one of those. It's the amuse-bouche to the winter holiday season, and it just kind of, you're like, all right, we did one pinky toe in with family before we get into the main event, which is coming up in a few weeks, and all that stuff. But a lot of movies coming out. Napoleon was kind of the first of these big new movies that are going to be hitting theaters. I went and saw that. Did you see any theater movies this week?
No. I was I got stuck doing car repair. Out of the whole holiday time.
Well, that's
I did watch the Little Richard documentary that was on Max, the new documentary that they came out with recently.
Richard is a really cool dude. Like, super freaking cool dude.
Yeah.
Like what a think outside the box and push the envelope kind of dude. He was doing things that were definitely frowned upon back in those days.
Yeah, I talk a lot about that in that.
I bet they do. Night Owl says, I somehow ended up taking you guys into Walmart way more than seems statistically possible. Heck yeah. Well, I'm glad you're bringing us along on your trips to Walmart. You could take us on the go wherever it is you listen to the drive-in speaker box, be it in your car on the way to work or in Walmart. We're here for you. But it was a week. There are movies that came out. There are movies that are coming out this week. There are things that happened, and we're going to talk to you about them. So let's jump into that news of what happened this week. Jake, you got anything written on your piece of paper?
Yeah, man, for sure. Past week, well, let's get the Disney stuff out of the way.
Yeah, go ahead and get it out.
One of the cooler things I've seen in the news in a while was Kelsey Grammer talking about his appearance as Beast at the end of the Marvels. The one positive thing that people have mentioned about that movie.
Kelsey Grammer Beast was there?
Yeah, X-Men show up at the end of the Marvels and like the Stinger at the end of the movie. It's not talked about enough because most people didn't watch the movie. Mm-hmm. Everyone that did watch the movie are more focused on telling you how much that movie sucked instead of being like, hey, and there was X-Men at the end. Yeah, spoilers.
Even that wasn't
spoilers
enough.
For a movie you're not going to watch. Kelsey Grammer talking with The Wrap said that, what did he say? He said, he can say with a certain amount of confidence that you will definitely see him as Beast again in the MCU. So that's one thing that might be kind of exciting because Kelsey Grammer.
But really, though.
Yeah, but you remember back with Wizard Magazine.
How old is Kelsey Grammer now?
It doesn't matter, dude. He has the voice.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And Beast is going to be CGI anyhow, so what does it matter?
True. That's true.
So you remember Wizard Magazine when they would always do the castings? They're like, what if they made a movie for us? What if they made these movies that we want? Before the world was like, look at those movies these goobers are into, and then ruined them. But it was always Patrick Stewart and Kelsey Grammer. They're like, Professor X, Beast, those are set in stone. Like, you can't change those. Those are the guys for those roles. So when Kelsey Grammer finally showed up as Beast in X-Men, you were like, hey, he's Beast. Not as cool as I want him to be, but he's there. Gets another shot. But Kelsey Grammer's voice is the voice of Beast, thanks in very large part to the X-Men cartoon. And then also, over on the Star Wars side of Disney, old Dave Filoni got himself a promotion. There, he is fully in control of everything Star Wars now.
Oh, boy.
He's the head of Star Wars as the chief creative officer for Lucasfilm, which means instead of him getting to control everything after projects are greenlit and started, everyone's like, hey, Dave, how do we go about doing Star Wars? He's the one that gets to okay projects and decide what's on the slate and stuff like that, which I'm not super stoked about because I don't like the way that Dave Filoni does Star Wars. He's probably why I don't like Star Wars anymore. But he's the reason that a lot of people do for people that are fans of like The Mandalorian and the later CGI Clone Wars stuff.
I stopped watching all things Star Wars when because it was funny. I remember this clearly when the Baby Yoda happened. That was the end of Star Wars for me.
Yeah, I gave up mid-2000s.
And I said, this is just going to be a vehicle for more cute things, and then they're probably just going to make a Boba Fett show because everybody's getting a hard-on for Boba Fett again. And then, a year and a half later, they're like, oh, the Book of Boba Fett. And I'm like, see, there it goes. Everything is getting so predictable now. And I didn't watch any of it, and I don't care. And yuck.
Good news for you. Along with the promotion of Dave Filoni came the news that Star Wars, despite a bunch of their cancellations of shows and movies they had on the slate, because they admitted, remember, a couple weeks ago, they admitted that they lost focus and sight of what it was supposed to be and were trying to push too much of that crap out, and Kathleen Kennedy was the very wrong person to leave it in the hands of. But they did say that they do plan on continuing Dawn of the Jedi, which is some sort of Jedi origin story, which is going to be dumb as hell because it's going to take place thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of years before anything Star Wars. The New Jedi Order, which I can't believe they're taking that name, which is the next movie to follow Rey and her founding of the New Jedi Order, which... How are you going to do that when there's all those books out there? They're like, cut Luke Skywalker, insert Rey. Like, is that all they, like, remove Luke and insert Rey from everything. And then they're doing the Mandalorian movie. So those are all confirmed for that.
It's insane. Star Wars. Mark Landry on YouTube, he said in the comments, he said, did you see that the Darth Vader is now AI voiced? James Earl Jones was over it. James Earl Jones is also in his 90s. He's probably almost over life. So, yeah, I can't even imagine like sitting in a booth, like going, I mean, that's like his actual oxygen thing going now. And he's like, Luke, I guess, I mean, there's only so far you can go with that. But
yeah,
but the fact like that we're still trying to squeeze blood from that turnip, and now we're making it AI. It's like, I mean, that's the beginning of the end. It's all just going to be AI.
How much Darth Vader do you really need? I mean,
you just need a few like.
What is he getting?
Your lack of blah.
Yeah, I mean, what is he getting inserted into? With all their projects, they're all in timelines.
CPAP
pre or post Vader. But yeah, they said all those books are still on the books following the strikes. So look forward to more Rey, which I am seeing going the same way as the Marvels. And then that one's being directed too by the lady that did Miss Marvel for Disney or whatever. James Mangold's the one doing the Dawn of the Jedi movie, but still, I got no faith in anything Star Wars. And then I have anything else? Disney? No, I think that's it for Disney. But on the flip side of that, DC.
What?
Constantine 2.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there was a interview with Francis, what's his last name? I can't read my handwriting. Whatever his last name is, starts with an L. Francis L. He was talking to the Hollywood Reporter, and he said that the strike put Constantine 2 on hold, but following Thanksgiving, they're all going to get together. They're going to get back on it.
Band back together.
And the transition from DCEU to DCU should not have any kind of effect on Constantine 2 being made. Which, does that mean that they're maintaining Constantine as like a...
Keanu Reeves.
No, it's going to be Keanu Reeves. What was the comic that it started out at?
Was it
Vertigo?
Vertigo.
Is it going to be like in the Vertigo universe, or is it going to be DC, or can it be in its own thing and not everything has to be a universe?
Yeah, he interacted with Sandman a few times, like in the Vertigo.
Well,
comic,
and
they both are now DC. Right?
Yeah, they got rid of the Vertigo thing and they just combined, I think, Wildstorm, Vertigo, and DC all into one thing because Wildcats are they went from Image to Wildstorm, and then now they're DC. Constantine is DC. All that Swamp Thing is full on DC. All that kind of stuff. But something that's kind of exciting about DC too is that they announced the casting of Jimmy Olsen in the Superman Legacy movie.
That's still happening?
Yeah, it's being played by actor named Skylar Gisondo.
But
he actually looks like Jimmy Olsen. He'll be like the first Jimmy Olsen live action we've had that looks like Jimmy Olsen. So that's kind of cool. But they also said that Nicholas Hoult is going to be Lex Luthor. I don't know how I feel about that. I like Nicholas Hoult.
Who was the last, like, after, was there someone after Jesse Eisenberg that played Lex Luthor? Or was he the last one?
Live action?
Yeah.
I don't. Well, there was old John Cryer in the TV in the Flash, in the Arrowverse.
Oh, that's right, the Arrowverse one.
Yeah, he was Lex Luthor in the Arrowverse in their 52 crossover thing that they did.
Mm-hmm.
Which he was actually he was good at being evil, But I don't know about Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. I want more of like the comic and cartoon Lex Luthor, like the Clancy Brown voiced, like Lex Luthor's like a dude to worry about, not like it's Nicholas Hoult, like he's Finn boy.
Well, and I just know Nicholas Hoult so much for comedy roles.
Well, or where he's the Finn boy from Mad Max, or he's the Finn boy in Renfield,
and
or
Menu.
you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know about him being Lex Luthor. Like, start casting someone that's Lex Luthor. Find someone that's like a Clancy Brown style dude, and have like someone you're like, well, that's Lex Luthor.
There is only one Clancy Brown.
Yeah, there can be only one. But you know what I'm saying? Because he did the voice in the animated show for that. I need someone that's like someone that has like
presence.
Exactly. Yeah. Someone where you're like, yeah, I believe that is
I would be
Lex
afraid
Luthor.
of this guy.
Exactly. Yeah. But on the Nicholas Hoult news, you see that there's another image released from Nosferatu.
No, I did not catch that this week.
You get to see like the little bit of side of the face of Bill Skarsgård, but you get to see like a puffy scarf Nicholas Hoult, like, what is this thing I'm looking at, kind of a thing. So
interesting.
More and more Nosferatu stuff. But how funny is that Nicholas Hoult was in Renfield
and now
Nosferatu?
He's just full on vamping out.
Yeah, he's like the undead dude. Because what was that movie? Warm Bodies, where he's
I forgot he was in Warm Bodies.
The zombie that bangs that chick and it makes him not dead anymore or whatever. That's a weird. That's a really weird movie. Because he's like, I want to bang that chick. And then he starts having a heartbeat and then becomes like a real boy again.
Wasn't that based off some graphic novel, though?
Maybe. I don't know.
Like some Hot Topic-y, like, graphic novel.
Yeah. Oh, dude, talking like Hot Topic, graphic novel type stuff. Toxic Avenger news, too.
Oh, well, lay it on me.
Just more on that Toxie train. There was an interview with the director of It, and he said that the movie is going to be hyper violent.
Whoa.
And it's a itchy and scratchy style violence in the movie.
Whoa.
Because
they fight and fight.
Yeah.
Fight.
His quote in the interview was that they've got a guy that gets his head stuffed into a car engine and it kind of grinds up his head. That's the kind of gag I was fond of. So he's just like, dude, we like gore in this movie and expect like massive, weird violence.
All right. Well, I mean, it's a Toxic Avenger movie. It better be weird. It better be gory. It better be goopy and grody and toxy.
Yeah. Well, and other violent stuff. There was an interview with McG too, where he talked about maybe doing a Babysitter 3.
I did see that.
Yeah, he said he's in talks with Netflix about
McG,
that.
McG, man, sometimes it's real hit or miss with McG.
But here's the thing: one of the misses as far as the public is concerned, but something I was excited about in this interview is he said that they talked to him about Terminator's
Genesis
Salvation. The one with old dude Batman.
Genesis was the one I liked.
Batman the Machinist. Genesis is good, and everyone else hated it. We liked it.
I thought it was good.
I thought it was good too. I liked the ending. What's Batman's name?
Yeah, the older guy with the voice. That's what you're talking about?
No, a British dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Batman
he was in
Begins.
Game of Thrones.
No, he's not in Game of Thrones.
Wait, British. Wait, you're talking about Michael Caine?
No, bro.
What are you talking about?
Batman.
He is Batman. He plays Batman?
Yeah, he plays Batman.
In which one?
Christian Bale.
He's not old.
I didn't say he was old.
You said old dude.
Old dude. Old and old are different.
An OLE, old dude? Okay.
Apostrophe OL.
Okay, I thought you were talking about the guy that plays Batman in what is the Titan show?
Donger.
And he's the guy.
Oh yeah, the dude from Titans. Yeah, the old dude from Game of Thrones. He's like
I forget his name.
Dickhead Bruce Wayne, but he's that badass murder Batman in Nightwing's like Vision.
Yeah,
that was cool.
That was kind of cool.
I wish you got to see more of that because they're just like everyone's dying. He's murdering all the police. Batman's killing us all. That was pretty cool.
It wasn't until that moment where I was like, oh, they cast him perfectly for that.
Yeah. No, dude. So McG said Terminator Salvation. The reason that it really failed is what he was saying is too much studio interference.
That fucking checks out.
And they changed so much of the story from what he wanted to do. But he said that a much darker cut of that movie exists somewhere. And if it's like with less Sam Worthington breaking his accent from time to time, because there's times where he just yells in Australian in that movie. It's like subtitles say yells in Australian, but if there's like less of his like criminal turned cyborg, but not knowing he's a cyborg character, and more of like the Christian Bale and like CG Arnold like murder Terminator, That would be sick.
The CG art on Murder Terminator was the best part of that movie.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty neat.
It was pretty cool. So, I mean, a darker cut of Salvation could be pretty cool, especially since it was like John Connor and he's like sneaking into this base and he's getting all these codes, and the human resistance is on like a nuclear submarine so that Skynet can't get him and stuff. There was cool stuff in that movie. It needs to be
rated R. All Terminators need to be rated R.
That's true.
That's it. Like, that's all. None of this PG-13 bullshit. Just throw an R at it and make it the movie it needs to be.
Yeah, so if we ever get more like Snyder Cut type things out in the world, which they should, I guess, because that worked out. But if we could get the McG cut of Salvation, and it's just like a dark, gritty, like Terminator of the future, and more of like the lasers and like John Connor having the scar like how he is when he turns around at the beginning of T2, that's what I need. That's what everyone wanted.
Did you get to play my T2 pinball machine when you were?
Yeah, a little bit. It was broke when I was playing it.
Broke?
It wouldn't shoot the ball.
Oh, yeah, we fixed that.
Yeah. But yeah, and then, talking murder stuff still, horror movies like Babysitters, slashers, stuff like that. Lots of Hollywood getting in trouble for their political stances.
Yeah, what's new? Which one? Who's now?
Melissa Barrera got herself fired from the Scream sequel, even though she's been in the last two. And then Jenna Ortega reportedly has left as well.
I did see
a lot of
that,
people
yeah.
think she left because her on-screen sister lost her job. She says it's because it conflicts with the Wednesday season 2 filming schedule. But
Beetlejuice.
Oh, yeah, she's in a bunch of stuff, huh? Mm-hmm. And then,
she's the default creepy girl now.
Yeah, I guess so. Susan Sarandon lost her representation. Her agency dropped her for her pro-Palestine whatever stuff. So, anyhow, careful what you say out in the world, because you might get in trouble for it, because not everyone's going to appreciate it, I suppose.
All right, you got any more news? Or you want to talk about what's coming out in theaters this week?
I think that is all my news.
Okay, well, this week there's some new movies coming out. There's there's always movies coming out every weekend, and this weekend is no different. December 1st. It's coming at you with a handful of movies. Probably 4 that are going to hit theaters nationwide. The one that is hilarious, because we're going to be in this era of pop stars just recording concerts and putting them in theaters, is the Beyonce film Renaissance. Although this is a little bit more than just a live recorded concert like the whatever, but it's her Renaissance World Tour, and it's multiple concert bits with other music video stuff spliced together. And so yeah, and it's Taylor Swift 2, that's coming out. Get excited. Beyonce is gonna happen. Also coming out this week is a movie called Silent Night, and it's starring Joel Kinnaman. He's generic action guy. Kid Cudi's in this for some reason.
Yeah, dude. Joel Kinnaman he's because he was RoboCop remake.
Yep.
He was Liam Neeson's kid in Run All Night.
Mm-hmm.
He was Captain Goober in Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm. He just plays those like square jaw.
He was the dude in
Carbon.
season 1 of Altered Carbon.
The good season. I liked him in that one. But yeah, he's just like square jaw guy. But this is another one of those like action Christmas movies, because it is now like really in vogue to argue about Die Hard being a Christmas movie. It's like, you're not cool if you think Die Hard is a Christmas movie. It just is. So let's just leave it at that. It's not like, we're so cool because we think Die Hard's like a Christmas movie. It's just a Christmas movie. Move on. And it's a good one. But this is about a grieving father is enacting his long-awaited revenge against a ruthless gang on Christmas Eve. And it's called Silent Night. This is actually from John Woo.
Okay.
And John Woo, if you don't know that name in the world of action,
Mission Impossible.
You've missed a lot of stuff. Like, I mean, God, you Hard Boiled and A Better Tomorrow are like the two genre-defining films that he did. But yeah, like you said, he did, the Mission Impossible, Face Off. Like he's just, it's John freaking Woo. Like he invented the whole scene of bullet time and jumping with two guns and going like this, and like that is all John Woo. Yeah, and he's really good. But if you've never seen A Better Tomorrow or The Killer, freaking Hard Target, Broken Arrow,
Hard Target. He did Hard Target.
He did Hard Target.
Dude,
yeah.
Hard Target
I
rules.
mean, dude, John Woo is pretty cool. Anyway, this movie.
I didn't realize he did Hard Target.
He did Hard Target. I
I just watch it and I'm like, yeah, Jean-Claude, yeah.
It makes more sense now, doesn't it? But Silent Night, it's coming out in theaters, so action movie for the Christmas, because that's in vogue now. That's coming out. Also coming out this week, a film with a guy that I just don't really enjoy. It's a film directed by Brock Heasley, starring Neil McDonough.
Oh, dude, you're telling me you don't like Neil McDonough?
No, don't get me started on Neil McDonough. Sean Astin is also in this movie. Jason Marsden, Elizabeth Tabish, Rose Reed, and some other folks. It's called The Shift.
Wait, hold on. Max Goof is in this movie?
Max
You got Max Goof and friggin' Samwise Gamgee in the same movie?
In the same movie.
Dude.
But it's about a man escaping this dystopian world to return to his wife. And this movie, it looks weird. I'm just gonna pull the trailer up right here. Neil McDonough, I hate that guy. What a butthole. But yeah, this is The Shift.
This is not my world. I've never been to this lake before.
I don't know why it keeps having this.
Never walked its shores. But I will find my way back. And I will find my way back to my Molly. 5 years ago, I was left in this dark place.
Okay.
I was taken from my wife.
And what's really funny is I think Neil McDonough probably forced this track into this movie.
I have no hope.
You still looking for that wife of yours? You're clinging to scraps of rumors.
Is this like a Christian thing?
That's what I was wondering. I was about to ask. I think it is. I saw
Sound of Freedom.
I saw this trailer the other day and was like,
"Where's my wife?" I shifted her.
Dude,
Every
Neil
choice you
McDonough.
make, there are countless other realities where you make a different
God, this
choice.
guy.
You're talking about parallel Earths. Imagine having the power to move people from one reality
to move
to
you.
the next, to shift them. What do you want with me? I can make you a king. Imagine everything you have ever
Neil
wanted.
McDonough's a jerk.
Worked for
Yeah,
me.
J-Way, it's Angel Studio. But what's funny is like they're gonna pump a bunch of money into this because they've been doing that lately.
He's not going to shift you back to your wife. It's a trick.
dude, but where's Max Goof?
That's the last choice I'm ever going to make.
Anyway,
This is a super long trailer.
yeah, I don't want to watch anymore. Anyway, yeah, that's coming out. It looks weird because generally these faith-based movies don't hit this sort of weird dystopian future, whatever, like sci-fi crap that this one's doing, and this one did. So I don't know. Al Tupper says they need to shift this movie into the $5 bin at Walmart. What if I had the power to move this where it belongs? But yeah,
Or put it in the ET dump out in the desert.
oh, with the Atari games, yeah. Oh man, but then also coming out in theaters this week, of course, we've talked about it a little bit. Godzilla -1. Get that trailer going too.
Yeah, Japanese Godzilla.
That's right, because it's the correct Godzilla, the way it's supposed to be.
I think I read somewhere that this in some way might tie in with like the current Zilla stuff, maybe.
I thought it was ties into Shin Godzilla.
No, because Shin Godzilla is like his whole own Godzilla that like evolves from worm up to.
Yeah.
But I think this is like the same.
This is the way Godzilla's supposed to be. Not fighting King Kong,
destroying
dude,
cities.
just crunching on buildings, man.
He kind of had the cat face, though. Like,
he has the little arms, though. Yes. Bite that train. Yeah, dude. Look at that tail swipe through the buildings.
dude, those people are so dead.
The correct back spikes. Look at that ship. He threw it. Bam. Like, yeah, this is what a guy. This is Godzilla, dude. Boom, charging it up. I mean, right? What is the? Do you know? Whoa! Do you know the meaning behind the whole -1 thing?
I don't. I do know that Japanese people sometimes just put stuff in English because it sounds cool.
Or they'll be like 0, -1.
Yeah.
Fractions. But yeah, as J-Way on YouTube said, unapologetically Godzilla. Like, yes, that's Godzilla. Not, as Velvet Santa said, not like Matthew Broderick. Not, eggs in the subway with the baby ones.
There was some Japanese project where they brought in like the Matthew Broderick Godzilla
as a creature in the Godzilla verse.
Well, there's two of them. There's the one where they just had it get owned by the other Godzillas because there was Godzillas fighting each other and they just had it get wrecked. But then there was another one where they kind of like redeemed it and they're like, yeah, this one's not so bad really. But that's whatever, I guess.
Well.
Anyhow, that looks cool.
Yeah, well,
everything I've seen about it so far looks super rad.
And that's coming out this weekend. So those are your movies coming out this weekend in theaters. You can check them out if you want to.
I need to find that Jet Jaguar short film they had at the Zilla Fest like a month ago.
Is that like online maybe?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I need to see because it was shown. It was shown at Godzilla Fest in Japan like a month ago. Mm-hmm. But I want to see a new take on, or just a new updated like visual effects of Jet Jaguar.
I mean, do you really want to see that, or just see the old stuff?
Yes.
I mean, just some dude.
Yes, to both of them.
Costume spinning around in a circle.
If it's a dude in costume with a little bit of CGI helping it, I'm fine.
Okay.
Because if it's like a Super Sentai and he's like doing a thing and he's like para dancing on Zilla, I'd be like, yeah, I'm in. This is the best.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I'm down for that. Anyway. All right, well, let's talk about movies in theaters. Shall we? Shall we? So this week I went and saw Napoleon, just like I said I would. It's the new film from Ridley Scott and starring, of course, Joaquin Phoenix and Vanessa Kirby as Napoleon and Josephine. Everybody else is just kind of takes a back seat to these two. Even Rupert Everett, who I haven't remembered seeing on screen in a long time. But he is the infamous Duke of Wellington who historically defeats Napoleon in I guess that was the Battle of Waterloo, or somewhere in that vicinity. But yeah, this movie, this movie was 2.5 hours long, which I thought was a pretty good runtime. Didn't feel like 2.5 hours long, and it is it's interesting because this movie is not what I thought it was going to be. Right? I mean, it is definitely a movie about Napoleon, okay? But it's not really necessarily gets into all of his how he rose to power and how he lost it, which is kind of what I thought it would be. That's all there. It is, but it doesn't really dig into that. A lot of it focuses on his relationship with Josephine, which is like a historically famous like toxic relationship between them, and eventually they led to a divorce because she could never father him a son, and blah 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 blah, and he wanted to have an heir, and this was just before he was overthrown as emperor. But so much of this was just like super horny with Napoleon and Josephine being like, I hate you, I love you, I hate you, I love you, I hate you, I'm gonna go conquer more countries, don't you love me? And it was not what I was expecting, but I kind of enjoyed it. One thing that I think that I did not enjoy, though, that really took me a minute to get used to, and I think that's just because guys like Jake and I are used to watching foreign films, seeing a bunch of people speak very American English when they're playing extremely famously historical, real French people and European people and German people and Russian people. And they're just like, hey, man, don't be invading our borders, man. That's bad. I'm Napoleon, and you're like, whoa, wait, because Joaquin Phoenix is great, right? He is great, but he's very Joaquin Phoenix in this movie. And, I mean, he has the look down, he has the mannerisms down, but when he opens his mouth, I don't hear Napoleon, I hear Joaquin Phoenix. And that was one thing that pulled me out of it just a little bit.
How much of it was because you were expecting him to sound like dude from Bill and Ted?
Well, no. I mean, that would have been, I guess, that would have been, well, and other people in the movie had, like, I feel like a lot of the characters in this movie had, like, the generic fantasy voice, that's, like, slightly British. It's like, well, what country are you from? You're somewhere in Europe. Talk like this, my lord. And it's like, okay, we got it. But Joaquin Phoenix didn't do that at all. And it was, I don't know, it just did something with my overall enjoyment and immersion into the movie. But the battle scenes were incredible. It made me want to, like, go fact check. I love a good movie, historically based movie where you want to, like, go, ooh, did that really happen? Or, oh, let me Google this. Let me learn more about this battle. Let me learn more about, how he thwarted this thing, or, the city got set ablaze, and, learning about, like, the fires in Moscow when Napoleon was coming at them, and they're just like, you can't have our town. No one can. Set it on fire and rolled out, and Napoleon's like, wait a minute, don't let anybody know this happened because they're going to think I suck. Let's just say I set it on fire. And they're like, nah, no one's going to believe that. And then the guy getting exiled, it goes through all of these cool things. And, it just makes you really appreciate how sometimes fact is more insane than fiction. This dude really almost conquered the world mainly because he had short guy syndrome, and, but yeah, I think that's what it focuses on the most, is just this guy's sadness and inability to be satisfied, and this weird relationship that he has with Josephine, and how there is a big power struggle back and forth between them. And Ridley Scott, like, this is a very good Ridley Scott movie. If you like Ridley Scott movies, it looks fantastic. It's engaging to watch. It's very accurate in terms of costuming and placing and all the locations and all the architecture and all the, it's just a very interesting movie to watch if you have any sort of interest in history. I mean, you like war history.
Yeah.
I think that you would probably enjoy this, if anything, for a lot of these battle scenes are pretty cool, because, you see the same kind of battles over and over in movies, which is like World War II and Civil War. You see those, like, all the time. But this one, kind of brought an interesting perspective. Velvet Sin, it's like people only do things for glory, and that's just really sad. But yeah, there's no plot to really talk about here because it's Napoleon. So, like, read a book, I guess, because it goes through all the famous battles and it goes through all those things. So, spoiler alert, he does end up having a son with, another lady, and he gets exiled again after his exile at Elba, which he escaped, and then he died of stomach cancer, and like, he was in exile for like 10 years or something, 11 years, I can't remember. I went and saw the Napoleon exhibit when I was a kid and was kind of fascinated by it, and pretty interesting to see it on screen. So if you like historical stuff, if you like war movies, or period piece movies, even like romance movies, this is a weird toxic relationship, and I've known people in relationships like this that are clearly not good for each other, but they keep being drawn back to each other. And it's, a very, very famous romance between these two. So Napoleon, you can check it out. It's in theaters right now. It's doing pretty well for a movie of its type in terms of box office totals. So yeah, something a little edutainment there. And of course, there are, like most things, some historical inaccuracies that they kind of glamorize for film, but not too many.
I was about to say, I saw an article where they talked to Joaquin Phoenix about the historical inaccuracies. He's like, dude, it was boring. We had to spice it up for the movie.
Yeah. But that's kind of how, it's a movie, right? Not a documentary. So maybe Ridley Scott won't whine if it does well. Yeah, all these old school directors are kind of big whiners because they want to make art, and then we throw hundreds of millions of dollars at Thor Ragnarok's. And so,
that's true.
I kind of get it, know.
They're like, man, I put time and effort into this. It has themes and motions and feeling, and even the lighting tells a story. And if you look in the background, there's such attention to fine details that you can never look at a scene and find everything in it. And there's like, to find everything in this movie would take you a lifetime. And then people are like, yeah, but Hulk's dick.
And he gave a taco to that other guy. It was great, man. Favorite movie ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Green footlong, bro. Like, come on, dude.
Here is $1 billion of our collective dollars as an audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, all right, Napoleon. That's what you can see. It's out there. But yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I saw. Excuse me. You want to talk about the box office? You want to knock those numbers out?
Yeah, we can do that.
Let's do it so we can get warm, because it is freezing up here in the studio.
It's true. It's chilly.
I didn't have a long enough time to preheat the studio here. So we're going to give you the box office roundup for the last weekend, which would have been November 24th to 26th. It was that post-Thanksgiving holiday weekend. Jake here is going to give you the top 10 movies in the United States. These are domestic numbers unless we specify otherwise, which sometimes we do. But we give you the domestic numbers because that's how movies are greenlit for sequels and universes and prequels and all that nonsense. So we will start with number 10, work our way up to number 1. Jake, take it away, man.
Yeah, coming in at number 10, Five Nights at Freddy's, dropping from the 5th spot last week. 5 weeks out, it brought in 1.7 this past week, bringing its domestic total up to over $136 million. Good job, Five Nights at Freddy's, killing it. Coming in at number 9, just above it, climbing up 5 spots, Saltburn, 1.86 brought in by it this past week. It also added all of the theaters.
Yeah,
it was in 7 theaters last week. So that's brought its domestic take so far in its 2 weeks out up to 3.2.
It's playing here. It's only in 1,500 theaters across the country. It is playing here in Northwest Arkansas.
Looks weird as hell.
A local listener.
It's one of those art films we were just talking about, I think. But I imagine that it's one of those things where if you're the kind of person that likes those Oscar type movies, art type things, looks kind of like thrillery maybe.
I want to go
bit.
see it. Yeah.
That might be one to take a look at, since there's not too many other movies like it out right now. And then
speaking of
staying strong in the top 10 spot, one of those movies that just can't stop making money, Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour, in its 7 weeks out, $2.3 million brought in, and it's in less than 1,000 theaters right now. $178.25 million in the U.S. alone. Taylor Swift out there making...
Its per average theater take would have put it in the number 5th spot if it was in more theaters. But anyway.
Yeah, big dollars for that one. Still there. And then holding tight at the number 7 spot, The Holdovers, Paul Giamatti movie, 2.8 brought in this past week. It actually gained a few more theaters, so it's still rolling uphill.
Also playing here locally in Northwest Arkansas, if you are local.
Just under $13 million in its 5 weeks out so far. But like I said, it's still gaining money and gaining theaters, so We'll see where that one goes. And that one's like a Christmas themed movie,
Yeah,
right? Christmas break.
So
So
it's
as
about some
we're-
students staying at this private college, while everybody's gone for break.
Yeah, so if you got that Christmas thing going for you, if you're one of those people, the moment that Thanksgiving dinner's over, it's time to put up the tree, there's a Christmas movie for you in the theaters right now. And then just above it, continuing to fall down the top 10, The Marvels somehow brought in $6.3 million. I think that was because people found themselves with some time off
Christmas.
from work, and they just wanted a movie to go take the family to. With its $6.3 million, it brings it up to $76.7, and it's 3 weeks out from Disney. It's made another 112 worldwide, so under 200 total. We've talked about it every week here. It still needs
Another like 100 million.
170 million to go before it even starts to make money. So no one on that movie is getting
Bet
paid.
they bought insurance on that one.
Producers are probably having a hard time with that. And then coming in at the halfway spot, number 5, Thanksgiving. $7 million brought in by that one. 24 million total, and it's 2 weeks out, which probably isn't so bad for a horror movie.
No. It did make a little bit overseas, which I was surprised to hear about because, Thanksgiving's kind of a U.S. thing.
Well, Canada.
Yeah. But yeah, it made another just over 4 million international, probably in Canada.
Yeah, maybe UK. And then just above it, Trolls Band Together in the number 4 spot brought in 17.8. Wow, the jump from number 5 to number 4, a $10 million difference.
Yeah.
Nearly 11 million. The
top 4 was very strong this week.
It in its 2 weeks out has brought in just under $65 million, bringing in nearly 150 total across the world with the U.S. factored in. I think it's been out a little longer overseas on that one, and it's the family-friendly option out there right now. Plus, it has Justin Timberlake.
It does.
And then opening at the number 3 spot, Disney's Wish, 20 million brought in by it here in the U.S., bringing it up to 31.6 with
long
preview
holiday,
showings.
yeah.
Long weekend, and that has gotten it just under 50 million total across the globe.
I've heard pretty bad reviews about this.
Yeah,
I've heard people saying it just needed to be on Disney Plus, and it was just like this really didn't need a big theatrical ta-da. But I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I've seen the early reviews were bad for it, but ever since it came out, most people that have actually went and watched it have kind of liked it.
Oh, okay.
So it has, I think I would say, mixed reviews at this time. But it's another family-friendly option. You probably don't have the strength in music that you would get from Trolls, but it's there. It's a musical animated movie. Chris Pine is in that one, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there you go. And then opening in the number 2 spot, also just over 20 million for it, with the long weekend bringing it up to just under 33, 32.75 million for that one. Napoleon, just around 80 million across the globe.
Not bad.
I want to see, how that one fares across the world, because Napoleon is one of those figures that
Everybody knows.
everybody knows.
Yeah.
So, we'll see where that one goes. I imagine they probably wanted more than 32 for its opening week. It was probably a large budget movie.
Well, it also had a lot of stuff in, and they have to know that there's a lot of things in the theater competing. You've got Wish that just came out. You've got Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving weekend, Trolls, which just came out. And then... not that this is the kind of movie that you'd be like, oh, what are we going to go see? The Trolls or Napoleon? But, that's the same day that they might take date night and go see a movie, but instead they take the kids,
Yeah. And it says it was released by Columbia, but it was an Apple Studios movie, right? Yes. And I imagine Apple doesn't care if it makes money or not necessarily.
That's gravy, man.
Just because it's keeping that Apple Studio name out there and keeping them in the running with things like Netflix and Disney and stuff like that.
I'm pretty sure one of the main reasons it's in theaters is so it can hit Oscars. Yeah. And then Ridley Scott's like, yeah, dude, if I'm going to make a movie for you, it's going to be in theaters.
Yeah.
So,
if Apple Studios got themselves a Oscar, that would be a big deal. And then holding the top spot somehow, The Hunger Games, Ballad of Songbird and Snakes, $29 million this past week.
It's making a lot of money.
Yeah, surprisingly. Despite old dipshit in the lead, what's her name? Snow White chick.
Yes.
Despite her being hated the world over and saying lots of dumb things, and everyone thinking that she was going to tank this one, it's somehow making money. $100 million in the U.S. so far, with just over 150 across the globe. I think name recognition goes a long ways with that. And since you have either things that are too little kid with Wish and Trolls, and things that are a little too adult with like Thanksgiving, and
something kind of right in the middle.
This is your middle ground, established property.
Well, you remember when so it was before the comic book movies got really big. Everything was this like young adult fiction. Yeah. Like the Maze Runner and the Harry Potter and the Hunger Games, and like everything was that for a minute. And now honestly, I miss those days. Like, I think I enjoy those movies way more than like these Marvel movies, but that's just me.
I mean,
like Percy Jackson's and all these kind of, I'd take more Percy Jackson movies.
I think that weren't they? Isn't there supposed to?
There was like one. Oh, and what was the other one? The golden the shit. His Dark Materials was the book that it was based on, but the Golden Compass. They
only did the one.
They only did the one because everybody was.
And then everyone's like, "Did you know they're called devils?"
Yeah. So stupid.
But then they made it the series that no one liked on HBO.
Yeah, I know, and that was a bummer because the movie was cool. It was Daniel Craig.
Dude, it had Sam Elliott.
I know it had Sam Elliott. I read all those books, and they're fantastic. Anyway, well, all right. Well, yeah. That's the show. There already is. Ali Sparkman in Twitch says they're working on a show now, I think. Yeah, it's already been like the season, 2 seasons. It's already out there. I tried watching it, and I just wasn't. It didn't have the same for me, and I think it's because I just like really liked that movie so much, and then like trying to restart it again with different characters that weren't Sam Elliott, and it just was not didn't work for me. Anyway, well, all right, guys. Well, that's our show. Don't forget to subscribe, do all those things. If you want to check the live stream of this, participate in the chat like everybody over here. You can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. We really like Twitch. It's a lot more interactive that way. But if you don't want to stare at our faces or participate in the chat, you can always download this podcast wherever it is you download podcasts from. And you can subscribe and get those delivered to your device of choice. So anyway, well, with that said, I'm out of here. People talk around here, as Velvet Santa says. I'm Bo, the boom operator.
I'm the Grip.
And we will see you guys next week.
As you leave the theater, folks, please be careful. Don't let this happen to your car. Be sure to remove the speaker before you leave. If you should accidentally pull a speaker loose, please turn it in at our snack bar or box office. Thank you.